Pooh Shiesty, one of the biggest rappers to come out of Memphis in the last few years, is now at the center of a wild prison rumor after reports started spreading online claiming he got seriously hurt during a fight with alleged Crip members inside a federal prison. And nah, this ain't being treated like some regular inmate scuffle either. People online are turning this into a whole conversation about loyalty, street ties, prison politics, and what really happens when a famous rapper gets locked up thinking his name carries power behind those walls. Because once those doors close, fame does not always protect you the way people think it will. A lot of fans on social media are shocked by how deep this situation allegedly goes, and the rumors have been spreading fast all across the internet. By the end of this video, you're gonna understand why this story got everybody talking, what people are claiming happened to Pooh Shiesty, and why this whole situation became one of the craziest prison-related rap stories of the year. But before we get too deep into all that, we gotta slow it down for a second and really explain who Pooh Shiesty is for people that might not fully know why his name carries so much weight in rap right now. Trust me, once you understand how fast this man blew up, the rest of this story hits way harder. So pay attention, because every detail matters here. Pooh Shiesty, whose real name is Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., is a rapper from Memphis, born on November 8, 2000. And what makes his rise so crazy is how young he was when everything took off for him. Most people at 20 years old are still trying to figure life out, but Pooh Shiesty was already becoming one of the hottest names in hip-hop. He signed to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records label and came into the game with serious momentum. When he dropped his debut mixtape, Shiesty Season, in January 2021, the project exploded immediately. The tape debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, which is massive for a mixtape. Then came Back in Blood with Lil Durk, and that record went crazy everywhere. The song ended up going multi-platinum. Pooh Shiesty's name was everywhere, and it looked like nothing could stop his run. But then everything changed fast. In October 2021, Pooh Shiesty pleaded guilty to a federal conspiracy charge connected to a robbery case, and that was the moment his entire career took a sudden turn. The whole situation traces back to an incident in 2020 when Pooh Shiesty and several associates were accused of robbing 2 men at a hotel in Bay Harbor Islands. During that incident, one of the victims was reportedly shot, which instantly pushed the case into a much more serious category. And look, nobody's laughing about that because somebody really got hurt. Once a shooting gets connected to a robbery case, federal investigators usually start paying attention fast. And once the feds step in, things can spiral out of control real quick. Then, in August 2022, Pooh Shiesty was sentenced to 5 years and 3 months in federal prison. And if you know anything about the federal system, you already know they usually make inmates serve most of their sentence. We're talking around 85% of the time in many cases, meaning there's very little room for early release compared to some state prisons. So from the jump, people already knew he was facing a long road ahead. He was eventually placed in a low-security federal correctional facility, and at first, some fans probably thought that sounded safer than a high-security prison. Like, okay, maybe things won't get too crazy there, right? Man, people were not expecting the rumors that started coming out afterward, because this story quickly went from rapper serving prison time to something way darker that had social media going wild. Reports and online discussions started spreading that Pooh Shiesty allegedly wasn't adjusting well behind bars. Now, obviously, prison is hard for almost anybody, but people were saying this situation was deeper than just regular prison stress. Pooh Shiesty is a famous rapper with millions of followers, platinum hits, money, recognition, and a huge fan base. A lot of people outside prison probably assume that kind of fame gives you extra respect inside too. But according to former inmates and prison stories online, federal prison does not care about Billboard charts or Instagram followers. Inside those walls, different rules apply. What matters more is who you associate with, where you're from, who you stand beside, and whether people believe you'll defend yourself if problems start. That's the reality many famous rappers run into once they get locked up. And honestly, being famous can sometimes make things even riskier. Instead of protection, your name can allegedly turn you into a target because some people want the reputation that comes from testing somebody well known. That's why prison politics can get dangerous fast, especially when street affiliations and personal conflicts get involved. Now here's where the story really started exploding online. According to several reports and rumors circulating across social media, Pooh Shiesty was allegedly involved in a serious altercation inside the federal facility where he's currently being housed. And people aren't talking about some small argument in the yard either. The claims described it as a coordinated attack involving multiple inmates reportedly connected to Crip affiliations confronting him at the same time. That's the part that immediately had the internet losing its mind because the rumors made the whole situation sound extremely serious. During the reported altercation, rumors quickly spread online claiming that Pooh Shiesty suffered several injuries, including the detail that completely took over social media, people saying one of his teeth got knocked out during the fight. And once that part hit the internet, everything exploded fast. Memes started flying everywhere, reactions went crazy, and people instantly began debating how serious the situation really was. But when you actually stop and think about it for a second, losing a tooth during a fight points to a very violent situation. That's not some little shove or quick scuffle in the hallway. That suggests there was heavy contact and real damage being done during the altercation. And on top of that, some online reports were even claiming Pooh Shiesty was in critical condition afterward, which only made the rumors spread even faster across the rap world. Now, to be fair, a lot of information floating around online has not been officially confirmed, and social media always has a way of exaggerating prison stories. But regardless, the claims were serious enough that fans immediately became concerned about his condition and started questioning how dangerous things might really be for a famous rapper inside a federal facility. And before we go deeper into what people are saying happened, there's something important you gotta understand first. Prison politics and gang affiliations play a huge role in situations like this. Without that context, the whole story honestly won't even make sense. Because according to the rumors online, the people allegedly involved were tied to Crip affiliations, and that immediately made people start connecting dots about old street tensions and prison alliances. See, Pooh Shiesty comes from Memphis, and Memphis has its own unique street culture compared to places like Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York City. A lot of Memphis neighborhoods and crews developed independently over the years with their own local alliances and rivalries. But once artists from Memphis become nationally famous, people across the country start associating them with larger street groups, whether those artists openly claim anything or not. Over time, Pooh Shiesty has publicly been linked online to people and circles associated with blood-affiliated groups. And inside federal prison, things become way more complicated because inmates from all over America end up in the same place together. You could be from Memphis, but now you're surrounded by people from Compton, South Central, Chicago, New York, and dozens of other cities, all bringing their own street politics and personal alliances with them. So when people online started hearing rumors about a rapper connected to blood-affiliated circles allegedly having problems with inmates tied to Crip groups, many immediately assumed the situation was connected to deeper prison politics rather than some random disagreement. In that world, people say reputations, affiliations, and alliances can follow inmates everywhere, even behind bars. That's why this story grabbed so much attention online. To a lot of fans, this allegedly wasn't just another prison fight rumor. People started viewing it as an example of how dangerous prison politics can become once rival affiliations are locked inside the same environment together. And now there's one major question everybody keeps asking after hearing all these reports. What exactly triggered the situation in the first place? A lot of people online keep asking the same question after hearing these rumors about Pooh Shiesty. Why not just go into protective custody and avoid all the drama? On paper, that probably sounds simple. Famous rapper feels unsafe. Prison moves him somewhere more isolated. Problem solved, right? But according to prison culture, things are way more complicated than that. And this is where the situation allegedly becomes a serious mental and social battle too. See, in prison culture, going into PC, protective custody, reportedly carries a huge stigma. A lot of inmates view it as somebody admitting they can't survive in general population. Fair or unfair, that label can stick to a person for years. People online often call it checking in, and once those rumors start spreading, they can follow somebody long after prison is over. And for somebody like Pooh Shiesty, whose entire rap image is built around authenticity, toughness, and street credibility, fans immediately started debating what a move like that could mean for his reputation. His music and public persona have always pushed the image of being solid and standing tall under pressure. So from the outside looking in, some people believe going into protective custody could clash heavily with the image he built in the rap world. That's what makes this situation feel so complicated to a lot of fans online. On one side, people want him safe and out of danger. But on the other side, prison culture and street culture often overlap in ways most regular people don't fully understand. Decisions made behind bars can end up becoming public conversations online, especially when a celebrity rapper is involved. So, according to the discussions happening online, Pooh Shiesty is allegedly stuck in a brutal position. Some fans think asking for extra protection could hurt his credibility in certain circles, while staying in general population could leave him dealing with dangerous situations inside prison. And honestly, when you really think about it, that's a heavy situation for anybody to face. Now let's talk about another thing people outside prison usually misunderstand. Celebrity life behind bars is nothing like Hollywood movies make it look. A lot of fans imagine famous rappers getting special treatment, private spaces, or luxury conditions inside prison. But federal prison reportedly does not work like that at all. From what former inmates and prison stories online describe, inmates in low-security federal facilities usually live in open dorm-style housing with very little privacy. Multiple people sharing the same areas, tight living conditions, constant tension, and people from completely different backgrounds all packed together in one place. That means rappers, regular inmates, gang members, scammers, hustlers, and people from cities all across America can end up living side by side every single day. And while being famous might make some people respect you, it can also bring unwanted attention at the exact same time. Sure, some inmates may recognize the music and show love, but others allegedly see a celebrity inmate as somebody worth testing. Some might want clout, some might want attention, and others may simply want to see if the public image matches reality once cameras and security disappear. And then there's another layer to this whole situation that people online keep bringing up: money. Because when somebody like Pooh Shiesty goes to prison, everybody already knows he has success, industry connections, fans, and financial support waiting for him on the outside. Even though inmates can't directly access their regular money in prison, people still understand that famous rappers can usually have funds added to their commissary accounts by friends, family, or supporters. And according to countless prison stories online, having access to money inside can sometimes create a whole different set of problems. People may allegedly start expecting favors, asking for commissary, or trying to pressure inmates they believe have outside support. That's why some former inmates say being rich or famous behind bars can actually attract more attention instead of making life easier. So when fans hear these rumors surrounding Pooh Shiesty, many immediately start wondering if fame itself may have made his situation even more dangerous. And honestly, that idea shocked a lot of people online because most outsiders assume celebrity status automatically brings protection. But according to prison discussions and stories shared online, fame can sometimes turn somebody into a bigger target instead. But beyond the physical rumors and the street politics, there's another side of this story that people don't talk about enough: the mental side. Because regardless of what's fully true or exaggerated online, prison can completely change a person psychologically, especially someone who became famous at such a young age. Think about how fast Pooh Shiesty's life changed. One minute, he was one of the hottest rising rappers in the country, performing shows, recording music, traveling, building a massive fan base, and living the rap superstar lifestyle. Then suddenly, everything stopped. Now, instead of studios and sold-out crowds, he's spending years inside a federal correctional institution surrounded by strict routines, tension, and isolation from the outside world. And the hardest part mentally might be watching the music industry keep moving forward without you. While he's sitting inside, other artists are still dropping albums, going viral, touring, signing deals, and growing their careers. Rappers who came up around the same time as Pooh Shiesty are still outside building momentum, while he can only watch from a distance with limited communication. That kind of situation can weigh heavily on anybody mentally. Now add the rumored violence and prison tension on top of all that psychological pressure. According to the online reports, he's not only dealing with separation from freedom, family, and his career, but also the possibility of physical danger inside prison too. And that's where this story stops feeling like internet gossip for a lot of people and starts sounding genuinely serious. Another thing many people overlook is how difficult it can reportedly be for prison staff to control every situation immediately once problems start. Former inmates and prison documentaries constantly describe how quickly conflicts can escalate inside dorms or prison yards before guards are able to fully intervene. With large numbers of inmates in one place, situations can reportedly spiral in seconds. That's why fans became even more alarmed once rumors started claiming Pooh Shiesty's injuries were serious. Because whether every detail online is accurate or not, the bigger conversation became about how vulnerable even famous people can allegedly become once they're inside that environment. And naturally, people immediately started asking another huge question. What is being done to protect him now? If these reports are even partly true, fans believe his legal team and family are almost certainly demanding answers about his safety and medical condition. But here's where things get frustrating for the public. The federal prison system usually keeps internal incidents very private. They don't normally rush online to explain fights, altercations, or inmate conflicts happening inside facilities. Most information tends to leak out slowly through rumors, attorneys, family members, inmates, or scattered phone conversations that later spread across social media. What people do know is that when serious incidents allegedly happen inside prison, there are supposed to be official procedures afterward. Medical evaluations, reports, investigations, documentation, and treatment are all expected parts of the process if an inmate suffers significant injuries. And that's exactly why so many people are now watching closely to see what updates come out next in Pooh Shiesty's situation. And according to a lot of discussions online, one of the biggest problems with situations like this is what allegedly happens after the attack. Because even when inmates get seriously hurt inside federal prison, people constantly complain that the system's response can feel slow, inconsistent, or focused only on damage control instead of actually preventing future problems. A prison can investigate a fight after it happens all day long, but fans online keep asking the bigger question: what changes afterward? Because if the same tensions still exist, if the same rival groups are still around each other, and if the environment itself stays dangerous, then people believe another incident could allegedly happen again later on. And honestly, that's the part of this whole story that has a lot of people uncomfortable. Because if Pooh Shiesty allegedly stays in general population while tensions remain high, fans online are worried about what could happen next. That's why social media exploded once these rumors started spreading, because people immediately began debating whether enough was being done to keep him safe. Now, there are also people online saying stuff like, "He made his choices," or "He knew what kind of lifestyle came with this." And look, people are allowed to have opinions about the decisions that led to his prison sentence. Pooh Shiesty did plead guilty in his federal case, and that part is public record. But at the same time, many fans are pointing out another important argument too. Serving a prison sentence and allegedly being violently attacked inside prison are two completely different things. The court sentenced him to prison time, not to rumored assaults, injuries, or life-threatening situations. And that distinction is why this conversation became bigger than just celebrity gossip for a lot of people online. Because once you step back, this story starts opening a larger discussion about prison conditions in general across the United States. The gang politics, the violence, the pressure, the fear of looking weak, the tension between reputation and safety. People say those realities affect thousands of inmates every single day, not just famous rappers. That's part of why this story hit so hard on social media. A lot of fans realize that if someone rich and famous can allegedly end up in dangerous situations behind bars, imagine what life may be like for inmates nobody ever hears about publicly. There are countless people serving time whose stories never trend online, never make headlines, and never get discussed outside prison walls. And when you really sit and think about that, it changes how you view this entire situation. Because the environment people are describing isn't just about one celebrity. It's about a much bigger system that many believe creates constant tension and conflict instead of actually reducing it. Now let's talk about another angle that's been blowing up online too, because fans have also been discussing the pressure that comes with Pooh Shiesty's image and affiliations outside prison. Since he's connected to Gucci Mane and 1017 Records, people believe there may have already been certain expectations placed on him the moment he entered prison. From one side, supporters and fans expect him to stay solid, stand tall, and carry himself the same way his music presents him. A lot of people in rap culture admire artists who appear fearless under pressure, so online discussions quickly turned into debates about whether he should stand his ground no matter what happens. But from another side, critics and rivals allegedly see that same image as something they want to challenge. People online keep saying that fame can place a target on your back, because some inmates might want to test whether the rapper they heard on records is really the same person in real life once all the cameras disappear. And that creates a dangerous amount of pressure from every direction at once. Fans expecting toughness, critics waiting for weakness, internet rumors spreading every hour, prison politics in the background, and physical safety concerns all happening at the same time. That's why this whole Pooh Shiesty situation became way bigger than just a simple prison rumor online. And according to people who talk about prison culture online, situations inside prison rarely stay verbal for long once tensions start building. A lot of the time, people say conflicts become physical fast, especially when somebody has a public image or reputation attached to their name. That's why fans believe Pooh Shiesty allegedly walked into an environment where pressure was already coming from multiple directions at once. And when you really think about it, that's an incredibly difficult position for anybody to be in, especially somebody still in their early 20s dealing with fame, prison politics, public expectations, and constant internet attention all at the same time. Regardless of mistakes made in the past, many fans online are looking at this situation and realizing how intense that environment can allegedly become for a young artist behind bars. People also started bringing up Gucci Mane during these conversations because Gucci himself previously served federal time and has openly talked about how rough prison can be. And if somebody with Gucci Mane's reputation still faced major struggles during incarceration, fans online are saying that proves fame alone does not protect anybody once they're inside that system. But now let's get into another part of this story that people keep debating online. What happens to Pooh Shiesty's career after all this? Because despite being incarcerated, his music is still streaming heavily, fans are still listening, playlists are still pushing his songs, and his name still carries serious weight in hip-hop culture. And honestly, rap history has shown that incarceration sometimes ends up becoming part of an artist's story and image. Fans often become even more interested in what an artist says or releases after serving time. Some of the biggest comeback moments in hip-hop happened after rappers came home from prison and dropped new music reflecting on everything they experienced. But here's the thing, those comeback stories only happen if the artist eventually comes home healthy and able to continue their career. That's why these rumors surrounding Pooh Shiesty started making people nervous beyond just the gossip itself. Yeah, fans are now wondering what kind of condition he'll allegedly be in physically and mentally by the time he eventually leaves prison. Because this isn't only about music anymore. A lot of people online are now asking a much more serious question. Is he actually okay? Will he leave prison mentally strong, physically healthy, and able to rebuild where his career left off? Or could situations like these allegedly leave long-term scars that follow him even after his sentence ends? That's the part of this story that honestly hit different for many fans once they stopped joking about it online. Now, let's talk about the tooth rumor specifically for a second, because that detail became one of the biggest talking points across social media. According to online discussions, people saw that injury as proof that the altercation was allegedly much more serious than a normal one-on-one fight. Losing a tooth during a violent situation usually suggests repeated impact and heavy force, not just a quick exchange before people get separated. And many people online immediately connected that to the reports claiming Pooh Shiesty was allegedly jumped by multiple inmates rather than involved in a fair fight. Because when several people are reportedly attacking one person at the same time, the situation can allegedly escalate very quickly before anyone has time to react or escape. That's why the story spread so aggressively online. Fans weren't just hearing about a disagreement, they were hearing rumors describing a coordinated assault involving multiple attackers inside a prison environment where help may not arrive immediately. And in situations like that, according to former inmates and prison stories shared online, options become extremely limited once things start going left. When you really step back and look at this whole situation involving Pooh Shiesty, it honestly starts sounding way deeper than just another viral prison rumor online. And one thing people seriously need to understand is how difficult it can be to verify information coming out of prison environments in the first place. A lot of fans see headlines and instantly believe every detail, while others call everything fake immediately. But the reality is usually somewhere in the middle. Prisons are extremely closed-off environments. Communication is limited, information spreads through inmates, families, lawyers, phone calls, and social media whispers. That means stories can sometimes get exaggerated, twisted, or completely fabricated by random people chasing attention online. So anytime reports like this start circulating, people should always think critically before treating every single rumor like confirmed fact. Now, with that being said, the reason this Pooh Shiesty story gained so much traction is because the core details stayed surprisingly consistent across multiple discussions online. The general claims that there was allegedly a serious altercation, that inmates tied to gang affiliations may have been involved, and that Pooh Shiesty reportedly suffered injuries, kept showing up repeatedly from different directions. The smaller details, though, are where things get harder to fully confirm. Exactly how many people were allegedly involved, the precise extent of the injuries, whether he was truly in critical condition, and what exactly happened moment by moment inside the facility. Those parts remain much less clear publicly, but fans noticed something important too. This wasn't one random rumor that appeared for 5 minutes and disappeared. The story kept spreading through blogs, social media pages, hip-hop commentators, and people claiming connections to prison sources. And once multiple conversations started matching up, concern inside the rap community began growing fast. People connected to the Memphis rap scene reportedly reacted seriously to the rumors instead of brushing them off as internet nonsense. Fans, supporters, and people familiar with Pooh Shiesty's circle started expressing genuine concern online. And that reaction alone made many people believe there was probably at least some truth behind the reports. And honestly, when you bring all the pieces together, this story becomes bigger than gossip. Pooh Shiesty was one of the fastest rising young rappers to come out of Memphis in years. His 2021 run was massive. The music, the features, the mixtape success, the streams, everything was moving perfectly for him at one point. A lot of artists spend their whole lives trying to reach the level he hit in such a short amount of time. But then his legal situation changed everything. At just 21 years old, he went from rap superstar momentum to serving time inside a federal prison system filled with pressure, politics, and constant tension. And according to the discussions online, he's now dealing with one of the hardest parts of prison life, balancing personal safety with reputation and image. That's why so many people keep talking about the protective custody issue too. Fans online believe that in the environment and culture Pooh Shiesty comes from, going into PC could seriously damage his credibility and public image. Fair or unfair, many people in rap and street culture view checking in as weakness, and supporters believe that pressure may be influencing his decisions inside prison right now. So instead, according to the rumors and discussions spreading online, he allegedly continues remaining in general population despite the risks involved. And that's the part making fans nervous, because if tensions inside the facility are truly as serious as people claim, then every day behind those walls potentially becomes another dangerous situation waiting to happen. When you really sit back and look at the full picture surrounding Pooh Shiesty, this honestly turns into one of the heaviest stories to hit the rap world in a long time. And not just because of the rumors, the prison politics, or the violence people keep talking about online. It hits hard because at the center of all this is a real human being dealing with a genuinely difficult situation behind bars. Before ending this video, there's one thing that really needs to be said. Despite all the jokes, memes, and internet drama surrounding this story, there are also a lot of people truly hoping Pooh Shiesty makes it through this situation safely. Fans from Memphis, supporters in the rap community, and people who grew up listening to his music all want to see him come home healthy, get back in the studio, and continue the career that looked unstoppable just a few years ago. because it's easy for social media to turn stories like this into entertainment for a few days before everybody moves on to the next headline. But behind every viral prison rumor is still a real person. Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr. is still somebody's son, somebody's family member, and a young artist who made serious mistakes, but is also serving the sentence handed down by the court. A lot of fans believe that regardless of what somebody did, basic safety and human dignity should still matter while they're incarcerated. And that's why this whole situation sparked such a huge reaction online. The rumors about the jump, the reported injuries, the missing tooth, the gang politics, the pressure around protective custody, the dangers of general population, and the mental toll of prison life all combined into one story that shocked a lot of people across hip-hop culture. But now I want to hear from y'all too. Do you think the federal prison system should be doing more to protect inmates in situations like this? Do you believe fame makes prison more dangerous instead of safer? And do you think Pooh Shiesty will be able to fully bounce back once he eventually comes home? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is way deeper than most people realize. And if you made it this far, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video because it seriously helps the channel grow. We got way more deep dives, rap breakdowns, and wild stories coming soon, and trust me, some of the next videos are gonna be even crazier than this one.